a.m. I had both of them, trying to manage them moving around. I thought, I know, I could close the door and be in this room and not have to also bother everybody else in the other bigger room. So let's go ahead and just lean to one side, pick up that meat that's underneath our seat, okay? So that we can just pull that in and then come down a little bit more onto that sits bone. And then come on over here, pull up the meat there and bring ourselves down so that maybe you can feel those protrusions a little bit more. And hopefully you have a seat that has cushion on it, or maybe you have a blanket there, because some of us don't have a lot of meat to move. And those sits bones, if they're on something hard, may not be very comfortable. So make sure you are, because you know we're in this chair and we're moving all around and doing all of that. And then I'm going to have my feet, lift my toes up, press down into the sole of my feet, but just lift my toes up. And I know you guys may not be able to see my toes there, and maybe I'll go ahead and move this down just a bit. And I'm working on this. Yeah, I'm working on the wider angle too, which I think they give you a little more of a view. So pulling my toes up and pressing down to my feet, and I'm going to go ahead and let my toes just rest and spread them out onto the ground. And then I'm going to curl my toes in so the tops of them are kind of pushing into the ground. And maybe do that with my hands too, so that I'm kind of knotted up in my hands and knotted up in my feet. Don't want to do it so much that you end up with a cramp in your foot, okay? But just kind of knotting up, and then let's let them flat, okay? The fingers are going to go flat too. Then I'm going to lift my fingers up, press down into my palm, lift my foot off the ground and press down into my heel. So what my hands are doing, my feet will be doing as well, okay? So pressing here, and then taking everything into a neutral position, and then coming up high onto my toes, opening up through my ankles. And here I'm opening up into the front of my wrists, and then coming on back down. And now I'm going to just curl into my toes again, curl into my fingers, squeeze a little bit there, and just get that sensation of everything coming in with the toes and the fingers. And then releasing, exhaling, picking those toes up, but pressing the foot down, picking my fingers up, but pressing my palm down, and releasing. And then just closing eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just feeling that our feet now are feeling that they can really be connected to the ground. And our hands can be connected to our thighs. And now let's connect with our breath. Getting in and out, slow, full, deep breaths. In and out through our nose. So it comes in through the nose and opens up into the belly, into the ribs, and into our chest. And exits in that same manner. And 2 more of these slow, full breaths, please. Good. And letting our hands come down, lift up, interlace, and then take your palms upward. I know you can't see mine, but I think you know what I'm doing. And then let's go ahead and just take our whole body with our arms in this circular motion. So you feel how you're moving around from those sits bones, right? From one place to the other. And then I'm going to take it around. And when we do this, we're working into our obliques and our waist. Good. And then coming into stillness, push through the palms. Look up, not really like Pez neck so much, but just look up a little bit towards the ceiling, and then let your arms extend out to here. Pushing through our palms, pulling back on our fingers here. And then from here, taking hands up and just letting yourself wrap behind you, feeling that in the tricep, taking arms up, bringing them back down through the shoulders. Coming up and wrapping in that opposite way. That's an exhale. Inhale and exhale. Rising up with your in-breath. Exhale, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise. Trying to loop in that opposite way. Rising up. Exhale. One more, your breath here. Hands come floating all the way down. Good. And then taking ourselves, just leaning over. If you want, you can hold on to the leg of the chair, but we're just going to take this kind of back and forth slowly, not to any real depth right now. Okay. Just want you again to feel in and out in this area. Tick tock. And notice where you've taken your breath. Are you using breath with movement? Are you just noticing where your breath is? But for me, I know when I bring myself up, and inhale helps. When I take myself down, and exhale helps. One more each side, please. And then coming up, I'm going to take one hand and cross it over to the outside of one thigh. The other arm reaches up. I'm going to hold on tight here. And I'm going to let my body come over. This time I'm going to hang. And I'm going to open up between those ribs, those intercostal muscles that get squeezed down sometimes from my breath not being real open and engaged and long and strong and deep. Through the day, I get into that short breath. Everything gets congested, constricted. Go ahead and rise up, inhale. Exhale, releasing both arms, just take them down. Crossing over opposite hand to the opposite thigh. Rise up, lengthen. Take myself. Maybe pulling that upper shoulder back just a bit so that the shoulders stack on top of one another, keeping my knees forward so that they're not caving in or pulling out. It's a windy day out there. It's pretty though. See all the leaves flowing and blowing, rising up, inhale. Exhale, both arms down, rise up, inhale. Exhale, cactus. Let your chest open, let your elbows come down and really pulling down and opening up in that upper spine there and your heart, really feeling that from one side of your body to the other. And then inhale, lift. 3 times flowing. Maybe opening your mouth when you breathe. On that exhale, shoot that up like a whale that's releasing from their spout. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, floating, floating, floating. Good. This time I'm going to hold onto the side of the chair or to that leg. I'm going to lift up, inhale. We do something a little bit different here. Come on over, exhale. And I usually say keep that shoulder on top of the other. Now I want you to kind of look down and let that front shoulder follow you. Looking down and back, finding that little bit of twist, and then taking yourself back into the extension here, shoulder stacking. Exhale, take yourself into a bit of a collapsing here. And then inhale, heart forward, chest forward. Keep going with your breath. Again, if you want to really release out of your mouth, but breathe through the nose. Let's do 2 more. We're taking breaths both in and out through the nose. Nice. And then lifting up quite slowly here, bringing ourselves up and letting this just flutter on down, finding myself equal on those sits bones. Let my fingers just hang. Maybe let me take my head chin towards chest and let that happen as well. And feel an opening in the back side of the neck. So these side lateral openings we're doing is also really good for the lower spine as well, because all of this is connected. Okay, so rising up here, I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that leg or to the side of the chair. I'm going to come over like I did before, really finding that length, and then go ahead and twist on down. And these twists are also helping to release that back spine. So my inhale is when I'm up, bicep by my ear. My exhale is when I'm kind of curling in and letting that shoulder fall forward. Taking it slow, not jerky, making sure you're okay with that range of motion. And maybe not coming down so far or open as much. Just find where your body says, that feels really good. Okay. We don't ever want the body to say, that feels really bad. Okay. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. And let's do one more here. And rising up. Exhale, arm comes down. Now let's go ahead and lift up. Exhale, right under left. And let's keep our knees forward and our feet forward, and we're still in more of a hips distance. And we're going to let our bodies sail back and forth in kind of that seaweed asana that we have worked in and out of before. Notice as we do this, when our knees are more together, our hips are kind of locked. So we can't really flow into the lower body much. We'll do that in a little while though, okay? But here we are getting into the shoulders. We are getting into the thorax, the thoracic part of our body. And then coming in to stillness, raise up, inhale. Exhale, releasing arms down, let them flow up. And exhale, left under right now. Finding that connection, and maybe you're here, you guys, that's fine. So, you know, we've done that and said that before. So find what's good for you and then let it go. And really, you can kind of rock back and forth on those sits bones a bit, but you notice that with the knees just forward, we don't have that much freedom in that area there, that whole sacral area. The sacral part of our spine is so vastly important and complex. It's an amazing part of our body. It's where we all were held within the womb, too. Think about that. And then coming back into stillness. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Ooh, come on up. And let's take our arms and just make circles, only going back as far as your comfort level allows. We don't ever want to overdo in any of the joints, okay? But just find that sense of freedom in that circular motion of our arms. Take it in reverse. Have control though. I don't want you to reverse and like let gravity go and maybe it takes you into a place that is a little bit too far back for you, okay? One more. Good. And now we're going to take our hands on our thighs, slide them towards our knees, slide on down, keep your back flat, all right? So that my belly is coming onto my thighs And maybe I'm only like this, maybe I'm here, but I do have some kind of an incline, okay? Not a recline going back, an incline going forward, and my back is straight, all right? So have that where your crown is reaching out at an angle, your tailbone is reaching back and down at an angle. Back is nice and long. And now, if you're comfortable, you let yourself collapse so that your chest now comes onto your thighs. Feel that opening in the back of the spine, the lower back. If you're comfortable, you let your heavy head hang. If that causes a sensation doesn't feel well, then just lift your head up in more of a half lift rather than a forward fold. So find what's right for you. Take a few breaths in this more relaxed forward fold. And I know breathing, if you're breathing into your belly, you're going to feel it get stuck there on your thighs. That's good. Feel it. Push into your thighs with your breath. It's nice to have that resistance. Then you really know you're breathing. Do one more big belly breath there. And let your chin stay at your chest or close by. Slowly, we're coming up one vertebrae, stacking on top of the other. Chin stays at chest to the very last. This is a really slow mo. Coming up. Shoulders are down. Chin lifts. Gaze comes forward. And let's just take a couple breaths from being in that inversion. Even if you were just in a slight incline, you were in an inversion. Okay, did not have to have your head all the way to the ground for that. And breathing. Good. And then let's come back up, hands on our shoulders, and let's make some drawings with our elbows. And keep containing that nice straight spine this whole time and reversing. And elbows up here. And from here, I'm just going to take and kind of twist just from this part of my body up. All right, so it's not all the way down to the waist. Bring myself back, take myself over. Again, my head doesn't go back as far, my whole spine doesn't go back as far. One more time each side, just getting some isolations here in our spine and some emphasis in different areas than maybe we normally would. Fingers come out. Let's take those wrist rotations. For some reason, my left wrist today is making a lot of noise, feeling a little bit of something going on there. So check into yours. What's your body telling you right now? Then I'm going to reverse. Nice flamingo hands here. And let my hands come down. And they should feel a little bit like you've just worked them. I know mine are feeling a little bit tired at this moment. Then I'm going to go ahead and come into more of that open, externally rotated knee and hip positioning, frog legs, right? It's kind of like our frog legs here. And I don't know if any of you have ever eaten frog legs, but I haven't. But you can just imagine what they look like laying on a platter all fried up. And I hear they taste like chicken, right? But I think if you put any kind of batter on anything, you can make it taste like chicken. So just back and forth here. And now let's see how much more movement we have with our legs open. Let's take some circles to begin with. And you can see that you've got a lot more freedom here. And I'm going to reverse. And I'm just kind of holding on to give myself some support and to kind of give myself a little bit of leverage here, making sure that I don't just go planting my face down on the ground. One more time. Whew. Good. All right. And then let's go ahead and take our arms up. Inhale. And as we do, come up onto the balls of your feet. And then exhale. Let's stay on the balls of your feet if you like. And let's take our upward movement on the balls of your feet. And then pretty soon I'm going to have you drop them and see if you find a little more opening again. Got my snake shirt on today, so that's good for all of this kind of flexibility that we're doing. Drop your heels and then see now how you can get into more of that sacral area, more of your pelvic zone. And then coming back into stillness here, releasing arms. Come on up, inhale. Back onto the balls of your feet if you want a little bit into those calves. And then exhale, left and to right. Finding yourself way high on those toes, lifting up and then doing your thing. And let's see what that's like with that contraction in our calves. Finding your downward, finding your sideward, finding your upward. And then taking heels and planting. And coming to stillness. Releasing. Whew. Rising up. Exhale down. Let's cave in our knees. Come to the inside part of our feet and let ourselves come into this internal rotation. And I'm just kind of rotating a little bit on my sits bones and letting those legs just find their way, no forcing. Just letting them kind of come in and open up a bit and feel that. Anytime we have that external, we want to have some internal as well. The sacral chakra, which we're moving into, is all about polarities. And polarity is yoga, right? We inhale, we exhale, we go forward, we go backward, we go up, we go down, we go left, we go right. We internal and external, all of that stuff. We inhale and exhale. All of that is about polarity and those polar opposites, bringing them together so that we can find balance. Okay, so I've got my legs open and I'm going to take my hands together and then push out here. Palm reaches out towards you all, lifting up, inhale, lengthening the side body, and exhale, take it down. Keep going. Just a little flow here. And breathing in and out through my nose. Two more, please. And taking myself down, releasing my hands, putting them on my knees. And I'm going to come down and slide. Slide to wherever feels right for me. Slide the other one up. And then take my arm up into this side angle pose here. If you have a block, this is a great place to have a block. I like that because I can really press down into that block, feel more solid than when I'm pressing in to my leg, right? But whichever works for you. But this is just nice to kind of hang out here and feel that lengthening of the side body, pressing with your feet into the ground. You're going to feel that energy racing up through your legs. If I want, I'll take my arm over, bicep by my ear. And then I'm going to pull down and back into a cactus arm and release Inhale here. Exhale as I pull back. Inhale. And exhale. Two more times. Standing with your arm here, extended, then arm rises up, and then bring yourself up, slowly falling onto your leg. Other hand comes onto your leg. Again, if you're using blocks, switch it on and over. Sitting up straight and tall here. I'm going to go ahead, slide down my leg. Maybe I slide all the way down to my ankle, my foot, or onto that block, okay? And the other arm can continue up my body and then come up, fingers towards the ceiling, and feel that opening in the side body. It's pretty luscious. I like it, at least, especially when I do press down on that block, because then I get a little more opening. Maybe I look up, I look to you, or I look down. What feels right for your neck right now? Where does it want to go? Maybe it wants to take that 180-degree movement there. We're not owls, although owls can't do 360-degree, I don't think. No, they can't do that, but almost. And let's take our arm over if that feels good. Still breathing. And then taking this as an inhale. And exhale, pull back. Push away. Pull back. Keep going. That was great. Beautiful. Your own breath. Two more, please. I don't know if that was two. I'm doing one more. Ending here. That's really bad when I can't count to two. But it's also, come on up, really good, because that means I'm more into the movement than I am into anything that has to do with this side of the brain, right? No, this side of the brain, no, this side of the brain, my left side of my brain, because that's all about the numbers, right? And I'm about the feeling and the movement and all of that. So sitting up straight, at least that's my excuse for not being able to count to two. And let's go ahead and slowly begin to walk our feet in all the way so that feet meet, knees meet, inner thighs meet, and we find ourselves connected in that way. And sitting up straight and tall. We're going to go into chair pose. Oh, I think we're already in a chair. So, but we're going to do chair pose with our feet together and our legs together. And we're pushing down into the ground and we're pulling together our knees into one another. So I want you to really conceive this as like one tail, and all that energy coming from our feet up into our hips, okay? And then our arms come up into chair pose. Lift, press with your feet so you can lift a little bit higher out of your chair. Just don't push the chair out from underneath you. Inhale. And then exhale, let your hands come down and release that internal connection you had, and release it so much. So we're just going to go ahead and let our heels come in to one another, feet come in kind of soul to soul, and let the knees open a bit. So again, we've come in from this really pulling in to releasing. And we're going to do that again. Go ahead and bring everything in together. Start beginning, if you like, into that pushing down into the earth. And having those feet running really parallel will help remind you how to keep them parallel as we're going through life too. And then lift up here, chair pose. Imagine yourself doing this without sitting in the chair, right? Being so strong, so connected that we could do this balance out of the chair. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Lengthen a little bit more. Push down with your feet. Inhale. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze in. And exhale. Ooh, let yourself be relaxed here. Good. And then bring those knees together and leave this leg, left foot here. Go ahead and take the right one, cross it anywhere that feels right for you. And here we are coming into a nice expression of internal rotation of both of our hips, okay? So when you sit like this is okay. Some people say don't sit like this, causes, I've heard it causes varicose veins, things like that. It's not so much sitting like this, it's that constant sitting just in one position. So what's good is to go from here, take your foot down and exchange. So we're gonna do that a little bit, okay? So take your foot down and exchange. So we're getting that action. You can hold on here if you want. Keep your back up. And we're just going to work those legs. Switching out now, if you're here, you're gonna be doing this, okay? If you're up here, you're gonna be doing that. So find where you are and move those legs. Little grasshopper legs, hopping up, weightless. Woo. Let them swing a bit. But as we're doing, I know I'm starting to feel like I'm pulling back. I want to try to stay lifted up. That's with core strength. And what we're doing is a bit of cardio as well. So let's just do 2 more sets. Is that 2 more sets? There we go. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to hold on to the side. I'm just going to let my body go back and forth. My legs are still together. And now I'm going to hold on here to my steering wheel, to my legs in my chair. I'm going to come back, not quite touch the back of my chair, and then bring myself up. Okay. So I'm holding on, but even holding on, coming back, bringing myself forward and engaging my core. And true, if we didn't hold on, we would be engaging more. But I don't want you to hurt that lower spine, okay? All right, so Sherry said lower spine is kind of bothering her. So you want to build your strength in your core, and that's going to help your lower spine not be so sore, okay? Because it takes a lot more when we're not strong. But if you force it, then that's not good either. But even just doing this little bit of rocking back and forth, I'm engaging here, okay? Let's do 2 more. And we'll also end with a breath work. It's real simple, but it really helps to strengthen this transverse abdominal, which connects to those lower back muscles, and that will help to keep all of this connected and engaged in a good way. All right, let's open up, maybe about chair leg distance, and let's go ahead and just start like we're marching here, picking up our feet, maybe letting them spring up a bit. And again, trying to maintain that core strength. And let's add some arms here as we're doing this. Come down, come down. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So we have our legs maybe going in one pattern or rhythm. We have our arms doing something different, coordinating. External rotations, shoulders, side body, And now I'm going to come to stillness and find my mountain pose. Close your eyes and just feel your movement inside your body. Maybe feel a heart rate that's gone up just a bit. Keep breathing nice and deep. Maybe you just rock your body a little bit. No, you just try to find stillness, but we know there's really no such thing. We have energy flowing inside of us all the time. Thank goodness. Good. All right. So we have done our extended side angle earlier. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of Warrior 2 today. This will be our big pose for the day. So I'm going to come over here and take one leg facing away from me. And the variety of what you do here can be as simple as this. It can be coming down onto your, find the right height, come down to your shin, right? Or I'm going to extend back. I'm going to press down into that back foot. And if you can do that, that's going to give you just a little more lengthening in the back leg, okay? So see where you are. Find that, and then go ahead and spread and open up your arms. So here we are in our Warrior 2, knee and ankle in alignment, arms coming out from our shoulders, and we're going to tip forward, right like this, kind of a triangle pose of such. Bring ourselves up, inhale, and exhale down. Bring yourself up, and exhale it down. Staying down here, bend into your forearm if you like, forearm, bend into your elbow, forearm onto your thigh. And feel this, press down into that foot or shin if you're on the block. And let's take some circles here, all the way around, 4 times, one way, with your breath. Finding that sense of freedom there. And then let's reverse that. And then windmill ourselves up. And from here, take my hand to the back of the chair. Bring up that other arm, look up, coming into reversing my Warrior 2 here. So my heart lifts, chest lifts, gaze lifts, fingers and arm lifts. And then bringing myself back into Warrior 2, taking my drishti gaze over my front fingers. And exhale, my hands come down. And then regrouping back into the center before we move into the other side. Come into mountain. Take a couple breaths here. Now let's take a few cat-cows before we move over to the other side. Inhale and bring your chest up. Gaze up, chin up. And exhale. Take that curl, that tuck, and that round into yourself. Keep going, you guys. No, you know your cat. You know your cow. You know your breath. And 2 more, please. And then bringing myself back up to prepare for Warrior 2 on the other side. So I'm going to come over here, get my legs situated, knee and ankle finding themselves. My other foot can just stay here if that is best for you, or I can rearrange myself and let that shin come on the block, or I can extend that leg back. Okay, you guys find what works for you. You can always have options. You can also just kind of watch us and not do anything at all. And then I'm going to extend my arms out long here and keeping muscle to bone. So if I want to do that, I want to kind of engage through my arms and maybe let my fingers open or pull them together, but just engage if you want. And I'm going to look over my front arm. Just going to breathe here a bit. I'm going to take myself forward and come into maybe onto block, or just finding myself down here and then bring myself up. Take myself down. Bring myself up. Not in any hurry, okay? Good. One more time, coming on down here, finding that length in that side body. Maybe taking my arm all the way over if that feels good, and really coming into that full length on that top part of my body. And then bringing myself up so that my forearm rests on my thigh and really engaging again here. Extending out through, taking my head in any direction that feels right for me. And taking some circles here. Let's go 4 forward and 4 back. And then find ourselves here. Bring ourselves up. Spine is perpendicular to the ground, and taking arms out and finding our bodies centered, our arms out, twisty gaze to one side, feeling strong here and quite balanced in my warrior 2. Taking my hand behind me, coming back and looking up and finding my expression of reverse warrior 2. Yeah. And letting myself come back up and through and finding that extension of warrior 2 here. Inhale and exhale. Hands come down. Let me find myself in that restful position of my mountain pose, my Tadasana pose. And remember, if we're doing this standing, it's just standing mountain pose. If we're doing it seated, it's seated mountain pose. Most everything we do, we can do in the chair. There's some things that really work better if we're on the floor, but there's some things we can do if we have a second chair. So yeah, there's creative ways to try to figure out how to get what we need and want, and what's best for our bodies through our yoga practice. All right, now we're going to come into legs extended out, okay, forward. So hold on so you don't slide, because they're really kind of in this sliding down position here. I'm going to hold on tight, kind of got a blanket there, so that's what gets slippery for me. And I'm putting my weight into my heels and pulling back on my toes. You can see my feet waving at you there. And I'm going to open up the toes really far, like I did before, but they were grounded. Then I'm going to squeeze into my toes and then open them up. Oh, surprise. And squeeze. And surprise. Squeeze. Open. 2 more times. Squeeze. Open. And release. Good. And then just go ahead and bend into my knees a little bit. Let my knees get real pliable. And I'm just going to go back and forth here. And maybe even on my heels, they may just release a little bit more and kind of windshield wipering left and right here. My chair makes noise. I'm doing that like I'm riding a horse or something and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Bring your feet back. find your mountain pose. Take a couple breaths. Now we're going to come into pigeon pose. So pigeon pose, I'm going to give you options here. If you have a block, you can take that block and just take the side of your foot on the block. Start to feel that in the back here. You can also take your foot and bring it up right above your knee. This may be available to some people. It might not be to others. This is another way that sometimes you find people seated, right, in this kind of cross-leg position rather than complete. But whatever we're doing here, you're going to feel it in this back hip. So that's what we want. So maybe you're down here and you're feeling it in that back hip, or you're able to bring that leg up and take it over right on top of your thigh. Okay, find what works for you. If you're up here, you might want to hold on. And I am noticing through time that I do not have the same kind of opening that I used to have. But that doesn't mean I force anything. It means I just need to keep working on doing what I'm doing to help it find its way. Maybe back, maybe not, and that's okay. So now I'm going to just bring my body forward, chest coming towards the inside of that top calf. And then I'm going to curl, tuck, round into myself, bring myself up. And if your leg is on the block, you can do this too, all right? You just won't be holding on with your hands. You'll just be holding on, but you still can't. You can still hold on right here. And I'll do that a few times just for demonstration. Yeah, so you're still getting that spine work, getting some of that opening in your hip, or you're here and you're doing this kind of flowing pigeon pose here. If you flex your foot, you'll feel it more. And then I'm going to come up straight and release that leg down. And then I'm going to do the same thing and maybe have a block to put the opposite foot on the outside of that foot. Okay, so either like that, right? Or I cross over. So find what works for you and then hold on to wherever you are at an ankle and a knee, sitting up straight and tall, feeling that back in your hip, and begin your flowing pigeon. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more. One I can usually count, but not always. And then coming on up and just feeling that this, wherever it is, if you're up or you're lower, and I'm going to go ahead and release that leg down. And that can also be a little bit on the knees too. So let's just kind of, what I'm doing is coming up and down on the balls of my feet, and I'm letting my knees kind of open and circle around a bit with my ankles. I'm going to reverse that. The other day we were doing like the Charleston, right, with our knees and our hips. A little coordination. There you go. All right, I want to explain a breathing technique that will help again with you focusing on this transverse abdominal that connects to your Q out back here, your quadratus lumborum, and that's where a lot of us have that back pain. And also, so Sherry, I think you had mentioned this, anytime you're bending over, make sure you're really getting good abdominal engagement, okay? And that's going to help protect that lower spine so you have less pain there, all right? But we're gonna go ahead and do this breath technique. You can have your feet on blocks so that you're really sitting up, you know, in that nice posture here. You don't need your back to the back of the chair. If you don't need the blocks, your feet can maybe fit on the ground or come up here, but find a place where you're going to be comfortable and you'll be able to sit up here. And we're going to take our hands just so that they're right. I feel my ribs right here. So I'm going to be right underneath the lower ribs. Okay. And we're going to take some breaths. Just take regular breaths right now. But as you do, just feel if there's some expansion and contraction. You can take your fingers together at the front and see if they pull apart when you breathe in. Maybe they come back together when you exhale. So now you found that place where that transverse abdominal wraps around you like a corset, and again attaches to our spine. So now what we're going to do is breathe in a long, slow, full breath. The exhale, though, is going to go out even slower and longer, like with pursed lips, like you've got a little straw. Breathing really slow and long through that little straw, feeling those transverse abdominals strengthen as we're just breathing and we're strengthening our abdominals. So let's go ahead. We breathe in nice and big. Feel that expansion. And then breathing out through that straw. Pulling that corset together. Inhale. Bring all the way out of that straw. Bring those fingertips into touch. Again, 2 more times. Transverse abdominals wrapping around to that QL in the back. It's a good exercise to do. It's also a very calming breath, a cleansing breath, refreshing breath, but it works that in and out, that corset. And I was thinking the word corset, a lot of young people today wouldn't even know what that word means, right? Unless they're watching some vintage movies, I guess. So now do go ahead and put yourself back into the back of the chair. And again, maybe your feet need to be here, they need to be on blocks, or if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and bring one foot up, maybe bring the other foot up, okay? That might not be in your practice, and that's okay. Just find comfort by putting yourself back into the back of your chair, okay? This is a good place. And if you have that second chair, you can use it to support your legs or feet, or just having those blocks under your feet help you. Because a lot of us don't have knee to base of the foot length from the chair that we're on to the floor. And I know Denise mentioned that the other day, how she uses those blocks to just support her legs, and so that she's not hangling and dangling. Term hangling and dangling. Close your eyes and just breathe into yourself. And knowing also that every breath we take isn't stopping at our bellies. Obviously, you know, every breath we take is going into every cell of our body. But also when we think of this sacral chakra area, or the sacral bowl, this sacrum here, the pelvic bowl, whenever we inhale, that pelvic bowl descends. And when we exhale, that pelvic bowl follows up into like the same direction as the diaphragm. So you've got this jellyfish-like action, intertwining belly and pelvic bowl. We all have a pelvic bowl, males, females. And this deep breath will help to keep that pelvic bowl nice and fluid, nice like a jellyfish, not like a shark. So taking hands at heart center and honoring the place that we've all spent some time in today, and into our hearts, into ourselves, honoring that place that's full of light and joy and love, and finding ourselves together in this wonderful community. So from my heart to yours, thank you. Namaste.